We're back, folks. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning on BKP Politics on FYNTV.com. Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. I just couldn't remember, but it's Ted Stevens, her uncle. I think her uncle was Ted Stevens, the bridge to nowhere. The only thing I'm saying here is in the $3 trillion infrastructure bill that Joe Manchin will push, earmarks are back in. They're all stealing everything they can get their hands on. Okay, the deals are being made now. Joe Manchin will go with H.R. 1 to federalize elections. Take your guns. Joe Manchin, look it up. Do not trust Joe Manchin, okay? I'm going to tell you something. I was watching this weekend. I take notes as I watch the shows. And I take notes. Unity, West Virginia, Joe Manchin, blah, blah, blah. Tax credit. Okay, first of all, Joe Manchin, do not fall for Senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, being in the middle. And do not fall for when the media calls him common sense. The Democrats have no common sense left. Okay? When Dr. Seuss and Pepe Le Pew and Speedy Gonzales and Yosemite Sam and the rest are going to be canceled out. Not a joke. And genders are getting canceled. Okay? There's no common sense. Until somebody like Joe Manchin steps up, quit letting the media call him middle. All right? From the middle, Joe Manchin and common sense. 117,000 minors are crossing the border this year. What does Joe Biden call them? New voters. It's not a joke. There's a reason they want to take over H.R. 1. They want to federalize elections now. Joe Biden is welcoming hundreds of thousands of new voters into this country. Now, we're going to run through here really quick. I want to run through some pictures. Remember this, number 6. Every time you hear about the Fulton County in Georgia, Fulton County DA and prosecuting Donald Trump, let's not forget Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State of Georgia, and what he has done where President Trump's concerned in Georgia and what he did with our elections. Okay? Don't forget that. We'll bring that back up in a minute. Number 10, this was all the media could talk about. Meghan and Harry, no support from Palace on racist tabloid stories. Okay? All right? Number 11, CNN, critical aid for poor families and coronavirus relief bill. Okay? Lifting out of poverty, can't do it, folks. Here's number 12. This was all the rage this morning. This is all the media is talking about. Not the $1.9 trillion that will give monthly payments to parents of children. $300 a month you get a check for the government to have your kid. Guess what? If the government pays for your kid and they have a vested interest, in your kid and they pay for your kid, they can take your kid. Has the government not totally taken over your children now? God almighty, what the hell? 12, Palace even weighed in on color of son Archie's skin. This is what here it is. Number 13, on the verge of landmark relief. They find pictures of people standing in line. All right. Number 14, Democrats debate filibuster change. Okay. Number 16, President Biden announced voting rights executive order. We know that. We talked about that this morning. Where do these people get these? Where do the poll numbers come from? Who are they calling? Number 20, ABC News Ipsos poll Majority of Americans approve of President Biden's approach to the pandemic. Okay. This woman, number 24, Karen Hinton, former uh, Cuomo aide. This is number 20. She claims Cuomo pulled her into a room and laid a smooch on her. And she said, "No, Andrew." I keep calling him Mario. "No, Andrew." She wants in on it. She's claiming this. Number 25 says she pulled away, but he pulled her back towards his body, holding her before she backed away and left the room. Can you see the movie? Can you see the movie? It's coming, right? 50 Shades of Andrew. Yes, 50 Shades of Andrew. Number 27, two new women accuse New York governor smooches of inappropriate behavior. Where is this going? Will more, number 29, I love this one here. Will more accusers come forward on Andrew? It's 14 years. Now, number 30, I didn't have time to go into all the video today. Number 30, what about bipartisanship? Number 30, there's Kamala Harris. Now, Congressman Matt Gaetz, whatever his name is, down there in Florida, he made a reference to Marie Bartiromo yesterday on Fox Business yesterday morning that the transition is already taking place for Harris to take over, because if you pay attention, folks, Kamala Harris is starting to do a lot of communicating. She's communicating with foreign leaders. Okay, she's playing a role that the media is not sharing with you and I already, to the point that there's some suspicion that transition may be headed her way already. Joe has not a half a year. Okay, we're in March. We don't have a State of the Union address. We have no reason whatsoever why we still have a military shutdown of the perimeter of the Capitol. There's no reason for that whatsoever. Okay, Joe's not done a State of the Union address. Joe has not done a press conference. We're in March. Okay, halfway into the 100-day mark, no press conference. Okay. Number 34, in honor of Selma's Bloody Sunday, Biden announces new voting rights initiatives. Okay. Take over elections. Oh, I said earlier, number 35, this is out of the AJC. Fulton DA overseeing Trump investigation hires top RICO expert. Okay. Remember, every time you hear about the Trump investigation in Atlanta from the Fulton County DA, Fulton County, we can't get a forensic audit on the election there. But every time you hear that, think about Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State. Okay. The media went nuts this weekend over, I took this picture, Fox News, number 39. They definitely want, this is spring break travel and COVID concerns. They went nuts this weekend over Texas, spring break. They want to do everything they can to put us into COVID phase 4, okay? The spike, COVID spike 4. Number 41, this is from the Washington Post, okay? Georgia family, this is a WAPO story from Saturday. Georgia family sues grocery clerk for posting about their alleged involvement in January 6th insurrection. Now, this is in Pickens County, Georgia. The family is the Cagle family. Katie Bay, as we call her here. She's a friend of the show. She's been on the show before. Katie Bay and William. This made the Washington Post as they've sued a grocery clerk. We'll get into that. I'm going to call them today, say, hey, what's going on here? Number 43. This was all Joe and Minka could talk about this morning. Meghan and Harry tell all and shocking Oprah interview. All right. That was here. You always got to bring in, if you're talking about skin color, number 46. Meghan reveals closed door discussion about Archie's skin color. You always got to bring in Al Sharpton. Anytime you have a discussion about skin color, why not? You got to bring in Al Sharpton. And poverty on track for record decline, 47. So let me say this before we close this morning, okay? Poverty on track for record decline. Back to this. Remember a year ago, this past weekend was the last weekend. That was the weekend you were looking at each other and you were talking about going to work that Monday and should you go in and should you go to the grocery store and should you go get more toilet paper than you need for 5-6 years? That was the weekend. Just remember as you go through the day that it's March 8th. And this is where we were at a year ago. Okay. Donald J. Trump is not in the White House. He is not elected president of the United States. He's not in the White House today serving a second term. Okay. Joe Biden occupies the West Wing with the deep state. Keep that in mind. Okay. He was installed as president of the United States to oversee the West Wing. Okay. For the Chinese Communist Party. I'm just saying it like that because the Chinese are moving forward every day as we decline, and we're declining on a daily basis. All right. So our schools, our local government, our city government, states, even red states. I love Texas. I love so many people in the red states out there, but they are also in decline. Okay. The government cannot be the largest employer. Now, people will argue with me on that. But everything connects back to the government now. And they've done that to make sure with this $6 trillion they have passed, everything connects back to the government. You're sitting out there and you're saying, but my company is private sector. We have nothing to do. We're not a government agency. We're private sector. Somehow you're receiving money. No matter what you do today, you're receiving money that is spinning through a cycle that was created from the government. No matter what your position is, well, I work construction and I build houses and I'm framing, and that's not the government. Who's buying the house? Who do they work for? Do they work for a company? Do they work for a company that you're building the house for, that the company they work for has a government contract? You can't get away from touching the government and money right now. From your children to your home, to your business, your daily life cannot get away from it. And a government cannot, as I continue to say, from our healthcare system all the way through, they cannot be the driving force in an economic engine and the country sustain itself and continue. It can't happen, and that's where we're at. You look at every agency of the government, how many hundreds of thousands they employ. You look at everything the federal government touches in a contract that they give out and who works for them in the private sector and where the money's coming from. You look at your local county government, your local city governments, your every single thing, all the way up state, from the federal to the state to your county to your cities. They are the largest employers in the country now. And you can't do that. Can't regenerate the same dollar through a taxation and exist. Because all you're doing to get the taxation to work is printing new dollars. That's it. Adding new dollars cannot work. I'm your host, BKP. Gun control, equity, federalizing elections, you name it. Earmarks, bridge to nowhere, taking your children away, $1.9 trillion in extended buying power for drugs, whether you like it or not. All right, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll try again. You enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Have fun. It's going to be beautiful. Stay optimistic. We together can turn this around. Take us out of here.